right, welcome in, folks, to the Can We Kick It podcast. I'm your co-host Mike, along with Chuck here.
Howdy, brother.
What's going on, Chuck?
Just coming off that long weekend, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you were also in Baton Rouge for what seemed like a good game for one side. Did you have a good time over there?
Yeah, it was great, man. I should have worn my OSU hat. I couldn't find it before we left, so I would have worn it today since you got your A&M hat on.
Yeah,
But
new
I didn't
coach.
go
I got a
there,
rep.
so
So all of that, with the time being off, I've been putting it toward nothing but TV.
yeah, I got caught up on a lot of TV, more than I thought. But that was mainly like Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of TV. So, we both watched the first two episodes of Fargo,
Oh,
chapter 5 with John Hamm, Juno Temple, Jennifer Jason Leigh. Excellent first two episodes.
so good.
And then For All Mankind surprised us with episode 3 on Wednesday instead of Friday.
Yep.
And that was one of the best episodes of that show, I think, in all of the seasons. And it got real. I was reading the reviews of it, and it was very well reviewed, I think. And then I started two other shows, which are like on some of the Economist best of the year. So Beef, we watched the first episode of that on Sunday night, and then
Rave
the
reviews.
Gold,
Yep.
the Gold with our friend Jack Loudon from Slow Horses. So another BBC British crime drama based on true story. So maybe we'll talk a little bit. Probably not about those today, but maybe one of those could make an appearance in our end of the year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what about you?
I'll have to watch the Gold. Yeah, Jack
Yeah.
Loudon his stock is going up, man. It's really good for him. He's breaking into some newer shows and stuff like that. I've been watching part 1 of season 6 of The Crown dropped, and I just finished it. It was only 4 episodes, but it was like an hour and 20 each. And it was all about the lead up and like the aftermath, beginning aftermath of Diana's death, and how the Crown dealt with that and the kids and all that stuff. It was really good acting, and the woman that plays Princess Diana is probably going to win an Emmy out of it. It was an unbelievable performance. But yeah, watched that. Watched, For All Mankind dropped early on Thursday. Fargo was hilarious with John Hamm, and his nipple rings and his moisture pose, and Mr. Jaqueen and Mrs. Jaqueen. The show's just hilarious. It's so weird. I think I texted you and our friend Marcus from work. The show is just so weird on so many levels. I like it just because of those reasons. And it had Steve the Hare Harrington in it.
Yeah, Joe Carey. Let's talk Fargo for a minute, because that was I think it surprised us with a 2-episode drop.
Yeah.
Well, at least I didn't know it was going to be. I don't know how much of a surprise, but 2 really good episodes to start off the season. So, Joe Carey from Stranger Things plays John Hamm's kind of bumbling deputy sheriff, son of John Hamm.
Yeah, he's all militiaed out. He's got the vest. He's like got the hat. He's ready to go.
You know what I love? This goes back to Ozark. Give me like Midwest farmers with just a bunch of people hanging out with guns and shit ready to pop off. Like there's always going to be something coming up on coming up their driveway.
Right.
It's like militia type people. Yeah.
It's interesting how the show is going on all about, like, you got Juno Temple, who's like this housewife, and her husband it's kind of a beta male, and his mom is a hardline businesswoman with like a big sign over her desk that says no, which is hilarious. And then their lawyer.
Do you think she works in supply chain? Do you think she works in supply chain?
She's got it. Yeah, she's got to work in supply chain.
We need you to no.
Yeah. and like she's all worried that Juno Temple's only after money and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And like Juno Temple has a connection to John Hamm. I won't spoil for anybody, but he also was coming after her for like money. So it has to all do with like debt and like interest and all this stuff. It's a really cool concept where they're going with it.
Well, I think John Hamm's motivation going after her was like, I won't say it away, but like principle and his religious. I mean, there's an interesting scene where he preaches to a couple about like the man and the woman's role in marriage. It's like it's kind of like, well, if she's not fulfilling her duty, it's okay to beat her once, but just can't keep
Right?
beating her. So like what?
Jesus, dude. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I did like it though, because like he's like preaching to that guy, and the guy's like still like drunk or something, and he winds up having
yeah,
his like deputy to like choke him out like behind
yeah,
the booth. I was like, this dude's gonna get shot. This is great.
yeah.
But yeah, he's like a you know not a
Elected sheriff.
constitutionalist, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
he enforces the law as he sees it, what's right and what's wrong, not what the
Well,
government decrees.
yeah,
It's so fucking crazy.
yeah. He bases his decision making off of kind of his religious, biblical
Dogma.
interpretation of right or wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
versus lawful and unlawful.
Right.
You know, so I thought that was really cool. I mean, he just does a good job. He needs to be in more stuff, I think,
He should, man.
because Mad Men, it was amazing. Fargo, I mean, he's been in some movies, but I think in these kind of TV shows, he's really good. And you and I were talking too about Juno Temple is fantastic.
Yeah.
They like in Ted Lasso, she's like, oh, and kind of corny and ditzy, and in this, she plays, she has this past that you don't know everything about yet, but great Midwest accent because
Oh
she's
yeah.
British and she's playing a great fucking Midwest accent and it's just amazing. She's really good. Like,
Yeah.
in Ted Lasso, like, um, the lady who plays Rebecca is amazing. I'm blanking on her name, but she was also in Game of Thrones as,
Yeah.
like as a
I can't remember her
one
name.
of the
Yeah.
nuns or whatever, and
Yep.
um and the other actors are so much better than her, I think, in that show. But she's just like amazing
Killing
so
it.
far. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was super surprised, and
Yeah.
because
I
I
like the
thought she was going to
dynamic.
be the weak link.
Yeah, I like the dynamic, but she's like wants to be like the housewife, but she's like this like kick ass woman, right? Who can
Yeah,
like kill fucking anybody. Um, and then like you've got John Hamm who's like alpha male, and then that her mother in law who's like alpha female, and
yeah,
she's just like, I don't want anything to do with either of you fuckers.
yeah,
And I love when like her mother in law like confronts her at the table, and she like drops the accent, and she's like, "Listen, bitch, I've been through six
yeah,
levels of hell to get here." I was like, "Yes,
yeah,
finally something for her to play with." Yeah,
yeah. And I think people with money always think everybody's after their money.
for sure.
So
Yeah,
um, we got that dynamic in this show. So
yeah.
again, I
I
think, oh, yeah,
no, I agree with you about um John Hamm and how he needs to be in more things, because he was in Mad Men, and then he did that little bit of cameo in Bridesmaids
yeah,
as the fuck boy. And then, dude, I just saw him in Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's in like 5 episodes where he has to mirror Larry David, and it's fucking hilarious.
yeah. And I mean, he is in a movie with Gail Gadot where they play like assassins with Zach Galifianakis and
Oh
another
yeah, that's right.
actress where it's like Keeping Up with the Joneses or something. I forget the name of it, but I mean, that wasn't a great movie. But one thing that we're missing um, is he was in the freaking town. One
Oh
of my
yeah, he
favorite
was.
movies.
He
One,
was.
uh, it's so uh, he's so good in the town playing the FBI agent, and uh, he's really good when he's in stuff. So
yeah, when he turns it on and he's got a good script and he's got enough to play with it, it's amazing.
yeah,
I look forward more
like
to this season and what he does with it.
I mean, in The Town, he says, "This is not the fucking around crew. Now give me something that looks like a print, because this not fucking around thing is about to go both ways." It's like he's just like he's got some great, you know, lines in that movie. He's really good, and just kind of it was funny because I was listening to him on he was on Comedy Bang Bang podcast before the first episodes dropped on the 21st, I think.
Yeah.
And that Sunday, and they recorded it. But they barely talked about Fargo because he was doing, they do improv and they play characters. And he gave like the wrong date as the start of the show. Like he just doesn't, like he's just a dude. Like he's not anything. He wasn't there to promote, like, they go on, they talk about their thing and like, but they're like, yeah, Fargo coming. He's like, yeah, I don't know, it's November 28th or something. It's just like
he's a guy that I feel like made his chops doing Mad Men. He's made the money. And now he's like, I'm gonna do what I think is fun. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But search John Hamm dating show.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
I've seen that
on Instagram today. He's like in the 90s and talk about what he'd do on a first date on the stage. Like, because he's been on the podcast with the Sklar brothers because they're all from St. Louis and John Hamm's from St. Louis as well. And he's just like a down to earth, like Midwestern dude. And like that, I mean, he studied in high school in drama and went to drama college, like he's got that chops, but at the end of the day, he's just like seems like a relatively fun kind of normal guy. But
yeah.
So
oh yeah, and he made that brief cameo in Barry where he was at Barry's house and wanted to take a shit.
So good.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait for the season to continue. I think it has potential to be one of the better seasons. I mean, we've had, I think season 4 was an overall disappointment.
Yeah,
I mean, not disappointment, but
wasn't
compared
great.
to the other, it's definitely the lowest ranking of the 4 seasons. But
I agree.
This one went back to kind of the similar season 1 movie kind of story route, so that's great.
Yep, I agree.
Anything else on Fargo?
No, nothing else on that, eh? It's just a good show.
Yeah, it's a good show, eh? We get some pop and go fishing on the lake, yeah.
You want to pop?
Do some ice fishing. Go do some ice fishing,
dude. When
get
Joe
some
Carey
walleye.
goes in to get that pop, and he comes back and he gets in that truck, and that dude's like fucking stabbing him. His partner, I was like, how long is he gonna sit in the truck and not realize he's not standing there? So good. But yeah, no, nothing else on Fargo, man. For All Mankind was a huge banger before Fargo came out. I think I just got so wrapped up in Fargo, but this episode was the bear hug on For All Mankind, episode 3, and obviously last week, like, Margot got like picked up for assaulting that cop trying to save the newspaper guy. She gets hauled off to some interrogation place, and she basically gets like lightly tortured. I mean, she gets strung up, but
there's 2 coups going down, and the first one that we're talking about, Margot says gets arrested, and it's basically there's another Russian politician who is trying to take over
take over
Gorbachev.
Yep.
And trying to think of the guy's name. Korzenko.
Korzenko.
Yeah. So it's such a great. It almost reminds me of the show The Americans, because there are a lot of Russian American and there's just, she's getting questioned, then the guy that's kind of interrogating her gets shot in the head, and the new guy takes over and like ties her up to a pipe and is torturing her, and um, you know, all trying to find out the lady who gave her the card, more
Yeah.
information about her, which we know that she doesn't have much. And then it was kind of brilliant. It was kind of reminded me of the Barry scene where, was it prison, where you hear all the stuff going on around in the when he gets broken out of prison, where you don't see everything, or where he breaks out of prison. You just hear stuff like people getting shot and
Yeah.
things like that, right? So like,
Yeah.
it's not a visual. It's not just like this whole scenario where you're going through like Call of Duty style to rescue or to get Margot out of there, but
Right.
it turns out it's basically the lady from the park. They've located her, and they end up taking her to Roscosmos and Star City, and basically like, I'm the new head of, or the park lady's the new head of the space program, and then wants Margot to run mission control or work for her.
Yeah, the police were backing Korzenko, and like they
Yeah.
started cracking down on like dissension, and like yeah, Margot is like she's like being strung up, and then like you just hear like people running like on the other side of the
Yeah.
door. There's like gunshots going off, like
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
and she's just like yeah, and then she finally gets picked up and taken out, and that's when they're like, I want you to work for me, and it's like, oh cool, it's Star City, Roscosmos, awesome, which you 100% predicted, which is hilarious.
I thought predicted that. I forgot about bringing that up because I thought about that after I watched it. But at first, though, I thought your premonition was going to happen because like she's getting tortured and like they were just going to keep her locked away.
Right.
But because I still don't think either government should have Margot or would make that choice. But
Yeah,
I
right.
kind of figured
Yeah.
for TV it would happen, but I don't think it's a
Yeah.
smart move.
She should be at a cottage on a lake in the middle of Siberia, just minding her own business, and everybody
Yeah,
just leaves her alone. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's cool how reminiscent it was of like the actual. It was there was a coup in '91 to take down Gorbachev, and it almost worked. This is
yeah.
basically what that was built off of, to break up the SSR. But it was pretty interesting because like they had like the news segment where it was like tonight in Soviet Russia, and it was like
Yeah.
talking about the coup and all that shit. So that was pretty cool how they do that. Um, all this like anti-Western friendly policies and going back to like Marxist-Leninist policies and stuff like that. There wasn't anything else in Russia that I can remember.
No, that was it. I think you had three major stories: this coup, the
Yeah,
coup in the U.S., and
yeah,
then what's happening on Mars. So the next coup, um, Kelly and Alita are shopping around their robotics idea to everybody in town. Helios turns them down. Basically, everybody turns it down, and then they make a last ditch effort to go to Dev,
yep.
and at his California mansion.
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
I don't think it's
Malibu.
Galveston,
Yeah,
but I'm. Well, it could be up in the Pacific. I mean, not the Pacific Northwest, but NorCal,
yeah, yeah,
near Silicon Valley. If that's because he's like Elon Musk,
yeah.
figure. Um,
He like
where we
owns
find
the
Dev.
beach, and yeah,
Yeah, Dev tells him to fuck off. Like, basically, he's like, "What's in it for me?" And Kelly's like, "My mom died for you," and like trying to pull the emotional shit. And Dev's like, "Okay."
and yeah, he flips it on her. He's like, "Your mom fucked me over. Get out."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But then I think this happened after Dev's like at the beach or down at the beach, and a surfer shows up to night surf. And my question to you is she gonna make another appearance?
Hmm. Probably not. I could see
Okay.
maybe, but probably not. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it was
like, is
just
Dev
it
gonna?
was It was just what do you call it? An epiphany tool, right? It just gave
Yeah,
him like, oh, like we don't own anything. This is all for humanity bullshit. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's just a tool to get his epiphany going.
All right, yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering if that was like, does he now go back and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna, uh, you know, try to bring her into my life," or
Right.
probably not with this show. There's so much going on. Add that, and
Yeah.
there would be. But yeah, it's that like.
I just assume he has a robot girlfriend, not a real one. Yeah.
But no, that's a good epiphany moment. I thought that was that your explanation was really good because that kind of has a kind of mea culpa after that,
Yep.
and you know after um, they Devin ends up they kind of get together and plot a plan
Yeah, he like
on
flies back
basically
to Houston, like to Alita's place and beats him there, and he's like, "I have my own private jet." Yeah, like yeah,
yeah. What took y'all so long?
yeah, yeah. They're
Did you
like,
fly
"Yeah,
commercial?
we're a startup. I'm flying coach. Like I'm flying on the fucking wing."
Yeah,
Like yeah, yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
they like he beats him back, and then like they come up with this idea, strategy to use their technology but to not manipulate, but get the backing of shareholders because Dev still owns a large chunk of Helios to retake back the company, and then to use that for, I guess, future space exploration and discovery of
Hmm.
water and potentially discovery of life.
Yeah, yeah, and he owns the majority of shares, and they get some major shareholders backing, including our old friend Piss Pants,
Yeah, oh yeah,
our old friend Bill, who maybe hasn't coped well with the explosion at NASA.
I think he and Alita
Um,
have that in common. Yeah,
yeah, well, they're best friends, and they don't realize that.
yeah,
Even in this episode, and they have a nice conversation. Bill said, "This is beneath you. You should be doing more. You should be running mission control." Um, but I think they're and she's still upset about Margot, and there's all kinds of stuff. Bill's building model. Not gonna lie, it kind of looks like Mike's room at his house. A lot of
guys living the dream. Guys crushing it.
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
living the
his
dream.
legs don't
Doesn't
work, but he's
Yeah,
crushing it.
yeah. What happened? Do you think like so? Did his legs get blown off? I didn't see. Is he born on the 4th of July? Um, on the
I
stairs
don't
and get
remember him.
parents.
I don't remember what happened to him at the end of season three. Like, was he
I
like?
don't. I don't
Never
think they
mind.
showed him. Like he was in mission control, right?
Yeah.
He was in mission control. Alita didn't really. I mean, I remember Margot like walking out before, and
Yeah.
then blind astronaut Molly
Yeah.
leading people out and going back in like in a movie scene and never to be heard from again. And then Lita going to Margot's office, but I don't remember what happened with Bill in Mission Control.
Yeah. I
So,
don't. Yeah.
but maybe his workstation fell in his lap or something. Um, but but yeah, it was nice to see them together. My next question for you is: do you think we'll see Bill again, or
Oh
was
yeah.
this kind of like, yeah, okay,
Yeah. Oh,
you,
Bill's going to space, man. Like the guy can't use his legs on Earth. The guy's going to space. He's going to be floating around. It's going to be a great moment. And then he's going to like save the day. He's going to stop something from like blowing up, and he's going to die in the process. And then they're going to fucking launch him into space.
you'll see him like running on the Mars, like bounding. Yeah, he just keeps orbiting, like in Armando in Nucci's Avenue 5.
Oh shit.
Now, Bill, Alita, or Kelly, which one's going to space? I'm assuming Kelly's going to go. Do you think Bill
Kelly's
will
been.
work for them?
Bill
Kelly's
Bill will
been.
have a Bill will have a he'll have a moment where he realizes he can do more with his life than just
Yeah.
make
He's gonna
models like
go.
me.
Yeah. I think he's gonna go work for them, like
Yeah,
at some
yeah,
point.
yeah, for sure. They'll have a nice like something will happen. They'll have to go back to NASA. They'll have this big welcome, and Bill will like fucking roll up like he does, like a big dog in his chair. Yeah, I got a feeling there's going to be some kind of reconnection, but he'll be back. Um, I think it's going to be Alita that goes to space. Kelly's been.
Yeah, maybe Alita's husband's like, I'm gonna divorce you. You need to face your fears if you don't get up. You need to face them and get up to space
They
and
have
get
they have
your
TVs in space.
group
Go
back.
fix that shit. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and then Dev and them they go and they to the board meeting and they basically do a corporate takeover and fire all the board members for not believing in his Mars mission because now he's back into like I love space and people. And then he fires the accounting department or something for some reason or finance. Like
Yeah, he's
probably
like,
not the
you
best.
guys took on the subsidies from NASA, blah blah blah. You're all fucking fired. Yeah, yeah. He put the axe down on like 2/3 of the like corporate board.
It's just gonna be them. It's just Kelly and then he's gonna bring Bill in, and then he's gonna
Yeah,
like they're gonna just use like freaking TurboTax or like accounting software.
yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, this
Yeah,
this
so
will set up. I guarantee this will set up the direction that they go with season 5, because we're now talking about robots and finding other life. It's going to morph into like AI shit. Just wait, because that'll be the next season. I guarantee you.
would be interesting if they find, they go to robotics in these caves and they find like fucking cavemen or like little inchworms or
Fossils. Yeah,
yeah,
something.
something. Yeah,
Yeah,
like fossils, like proof of, like an ice age, not ice age, but like, something that caused the destruction of the species that was there.
exactly. Yeah.
Well,
I've got a question for the end of the episode, but we're not
yeah.
we're not there yet because I
Well,
want to get your take on it. But yeah,
I was gonna go now to Mars
yeah, yeah.
because I think that's I've got a Ed take at the end, but and Mars we got Billy Baton Rouge still struggling for money and
Toothpaste, man,
decide
it adds up.
decides he wants to get into the illegal alcohol business,
Gonna
and
work for Ilya.
Ilya
Yeah,
Ilya decides after Billy Baton Rouge's potential homewrecker or just friend and
he makes one
like
comment
vouches
about
for
the
him.
still, and he's like, "This guy, I could use this guy." Yeah,
Yeah, this guy. Um, yeah, so now he's running errands for Ilya, and then he's like says I can fix your still and make it produce faster, and then of course he breaks it because the dude has no luck at all in life
nope,
apparently,
yep.
and then the only way he can fix it is to go get a part from a refrigerator in the North Korean. He can't even make this up.
This is so great. Yeah, he falls ass.
I almost
Good.
lost it. I almost lost it when they're like, there's one more because they're like, oh my god, it's gonna take 3 months to get it up, and I'm not gonna be able to make alcohol, and like, but and Ed's growing fucking like loads of weed everywhere. I would think they is about to have a lot of fucking competition to get fucked up on in Happy Valley,
Yeah,
but like we can't go without it. The dude's smuggling shit, and it takes like 30 days, right? But like, dude has a whole smuggling operation, yet he
yeah.
can't get this little tube. for,
right?
for
You
distilling
can't wait
thing.
30 days.
Like, yeah. And
Yeah.
is he not making like some extra in case he runs into problems?
See, that's a
It's like,
supply chain thing that we're getting into because I'm like,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
upgrade this, but oh no, let's not upgrade it. Let's just fucking keep running the same shit we're always doing.
How many days of inventory does he keep? Like, what's the working capital?
He's like,
I mean,
here's my safety stock. It's these 2 bottles.
he's he's got his secret fucking bar that apparently everybody knows about except for the people upstairs.
Yeah,
And
except Ed. I gotta imagine Ed would shut it down. Yeah.
oh yeah, Ed. Old Ed would shut it down out of principle. New Ed would shut it down because it could interfere with his future marijuana business,
100%.
his dispensary that he's going to open up. Um, yeah, and then so leads to the most ridiculous fucking mission, and Miles, who I call Billy Baton Rouge, goes and like just there's this big thing, don't go in the North Korea area, but like he just outside pulling wires out of the thing, like no, there's no North Korean standing guard or cameras or
He's
like
just banging on the door.
no one's like they don't padlock the power supply thing to the North Korea side, like saying like or the carbon monoxide, like they wouldn't have control over it. And then
Yeah, they don't have their own like methane detection system. It all runs off with the fucking mains. No way, man. No way.
Yeah, and then so he's not gonna. Hey, I need the alarm. I'm in charge of this. Yeah. So
you all need to leave. You telling me they don't have like masks in there
no
that they all can't wear? Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be like, no, we'll put on our space helmets. Like
yeah. Oh, we've got masks. Don't worry about it. You can come on in, check it out. Yeah. Second of all, I know it's a Helios owned thing, but you telling me the North Koreans haven't trained their own people to do maintenance in their own pod? Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so ridiculous. And then of course you knew they weren't just gonna let him stay in there alone. So he starts pulling the refrigerator and freaking Lee, that was his name, right? What's the Korean?
Yeah.
He's like C-zone, but he's like, that's cool, man. I heard you guys like.
You put a microphone in. You spying on us, and he's like, no. He's about to start World War III on fucking Mars. Yeah.
But then the guy is like, we can get you this. You want alcohol? You want this? And then he's like, okay, I won't tell. First of all, does the refrigerator gonna work without the thing?
That's what I was wondering. He's just slamming the shit back up into the wall, and they're not gonna be like, oh, the fridge doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Wait, the ice maker's not working. Like, like, oh wait, there's a tube missing out of the back that will move water from this to this. But yeah, then they go down. Miles brings Lee down to Ilya's lair later on and said, he wants something. He pulls out a picture of his wife.
Yeah, now we're into
he wants to smuggle his wife to Mars.
Where are you guys gonna hide? Where are you gonna hide her?
Put her in a spacesuit in a box,
right? She gonna hang out with Jimmy Stevens or
this
in the North Korean pod? They gonna be sharing a bunk.
You ain't in this coffin with the water that like in cryostasis,
right?
Maybe Russia has that technology and they're about to unleash it, but
she's gonna hide out. She's gonna hide 30 days in a box no bigger than a suitcase for 30 days on a spaceship. Yeah. No way, dude.
Yeah, she's got to get to Russia or wherever they're launching his illegal resupply from. Yeah.
Oh, this was the other thing that I found hilarious, and it's just the reason Ilya agreed to work with Miles is because Miles had a quote unquote green pass, which gets him anywhere on the fucking station or on the base. You're gonna give a guy who's been on the station for like 3 days a pass to anywhere. That guy's not getting a pass to anywhere outside of his level, let alone to the entire base.
Especially they on the first day they're like, "What does this mean? We don't go here." Like, "Oh, but I've got this pass because I can fix air conditioning systems." Like,
Yeah, it's no way, dude. Yeah, that was so. I
I
was laughing the whole time.
this is one of the reasons why I love this show too, because it's so fucking far fetched, or like you have to suspend all logic on some
Oh yeah,
instances, but it makes for great TV.
100%.
Um, and I think the last thing, kind of major point is, you know, Sveta, I think her name is,
Hmm.
one of the Russian cosmonauts. Um, nobody knows. They're not hearing from their family, all the Russians. They know about the coup. Um, the news is made up about the coup, but they can't. They haven't gotten any messages from like family,
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
she's worried. And so Ed's like, "Hey, let's go smoke some weed." Like,
yeah, yeah. She's like,
or
"Oh
was
my,
it?
my fucking
Yeah,
back," and he's like, "Oh, I got you, I got you. You see this right here?
yeah.
It makes
Oh,
it like this."
yeah, because she has to take over for him. That's right. Well, she doesn't have to. He's like, "Here, take over. Let's do the
Yeah.
stocking maneuver because I'm old." And that's again another thing of disbelief. Let's have the 80-year-old do the docking procedure. But so he hands it off. She docks because his hand is shaking, and then you know he breaks down and tells her that, shows him his dispensary, and then they hold hands. Like, so we've got love is in the air, and we've got potential grow house, or we got a grow house, a potential dispensary, potential. Do you think Ilya tries to take him out? Like, if he starts encroaching on his money, or is that only going to sell to the above ground people?
Oh, for sure, the above ground people only. I mean, that's high quality shit we're talking about here. Like they only get Alfredo and weed. Everybody below gets
Yeah.
alcohol and fucking meatloaf. Yeah.
Do you think Danielle is going to narc him out to Space Command back home for having illegal substances? Um, because she's pretty much like a rule. Like, she's pretty much, I don't know. She seems like she'd
That's
narc on him.
that's why she bounced Danny Stevens, is because she knew that he was pill popping. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and then he got hooked up with Helios. So Ed's about to get shown the door. He's not gonna want to walk out it, but he's about to be like pushed out. I
Yeah,
I,
I
I
mean,
think we
he's already on his way out, but
yeah, it's like, is
but
he
he is
gonna
a skilled
commandeer like a
farmer.
spaceship? Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah. Now he's the first like pot farmer on Mars. It's fucking unbelievable. It's hilarious. Um,
Well, and he makes him feel closer to Karen, who is
which which is
apparently,
which is also hilarious because it's like the show is so advanced for its time,
yeah,
and we're talking about like 2003
yeah.
and like Al Gore's president. You tell me weed's not already legal, like in the run of government that they've had in the last 10 years.
I don't know. Karen Wilson. I mean, the Texas Republican lady probably set it back a little bit.
Oh, that's
Uh,
probably true. Yeah,
I forget her. I'm blanking on her. I'm like Karen Wilson, but no, it's
it was Wilson's. It was something
Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, yeah. Ed, I think we both joke like I don't know if he and I don't remember her name, Svetlana. I don't know if they're gonna get together, but I think we were both joking like when they started like taking hits. I was waiting for fucking Led Zeppelin to come on. Like they were just about to. It was just about to
yeah.
become a loved in. Yeah, like
There's
comfortably
like a
numb is
lava
about to start
lamp.
playing. Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lava lamp. Led
Some sitar
Zeppelin.
music.
Like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that was
And
that was hilarious.
it's definitely a change of heart though for Ed, because he was so like he got so pissed. I think when Karen smoked, and
Yeah,
like when Molly and her husband were like into weed and
yeah.
all that. And now he's like into it. But I mean, I could see them keeping him on, like, to farm, like he's the old farmer on Happy Valley.
Yeah.
So
And I'll tell you back to this. I think it's interesting how Ed has been off of Earth for probably half of his life, maybe.
yeah,
it's kind of like, I think you read the book Forever War, and how like
Yeah,
he went out and
yeah,
like came back and shit was different, and then he went back out and came back
yeah,
and shit was different again. It's kind of like
yeah,
Ed. Like the guy is
yeah,
the like one thing that generally remains the same, and everything else
yeah.
around him is changing. It's such an interesting way to look at it.
Well, now I'm reading Forever Peace, the
Mm,
follow-up book. I read like I started reading a long time ago after I finished Forever War, and then I've been slacking, so I need to read some more of that. I'm like 100 pages in, but John Hadelman is really good.
so good.
Who wrote that?
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, the world is different, and I think that's why he doesn't want to go back, because the world's changed so much.
Yeah.
And for him, he has, in his mind, he has nothing there, even though he has grandson and a daughter. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think though, because he's old school, that he thinks that that's not his daughter and grandson because they don't have the same blood?
It's
Sorry.
possible. I'm glad you said
Oh,
it because I was thinking it. Oh my god,
yeah,
that's
I know.
great.
In my mind, I'm thinking like Ed's, but I don't know. Maybe he smokes enough weed, and he'll. But it is interesting. It is interesting to see them take on that, because, like, and we still struggle with that in our country about legality. And I mean, I think everybody knows that it helps with pain, and it's
Yeah.
and that's where it started, legalizing prescription to deal with pain. So it's another, I like how they do real world situations, because it almost just it reminds me of, like, teenagers in the 80s and 90s. It's like, opening up like a shoebox in the closet to get, like, a joint
Right.
out and stuff, like
Yeah.
showing your girlfriend or friend, like, a joint, like, let's take it out tonight or something. So,
Yeah.
and now, except now he's an 80-year-old spaceman hitting on a Russian woman with pain medicine. Next
You
thing you
think
know, he's gonna be like Blanca with CBD drinks and shit. Like, always gonna, do you want a CBD drink? Or this one has Delta 8 or Delta 9 in it. It's
right?
like TH.
It's all common these days, man. Like you think in the
Yeah,
future, like in the next season, if they get another season, like Ed is just like he's like a fucking weed like entrepreneur, like Baldwin's
yeah,
buds, and he's just growing
yeah,
weed on Mars and shipping it back to Earth because it's like 3 times as potent.
yeah. Oh, that's great. And then, like, then Ellie goes back up there and she develops like some new designer drug, like Molly or ketamine, or something. Uh, and now it's like they're just manufacturing narcotics. Is like pure up in space. So,
Right?
like, he becomes fucking Pablo Escobar of Mars, and like he's like the world's first global. He's got like an armada of his own spaceships,
It's the
like Pablo
Baldwin
Escobar with his
cartel.
plane. Yeah,
He teams up with Ilya, and then they get the North Koreans in on it. And oh yeah,
yeah,
man.
the Baldwin card. Somehow, like, Colombia and like Afghanistan show up. They got like Afghanistan got like poppies, like a whole freaking uh space show of poppies.
A whole field of just poppy fields.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And next season, Ed's got a fucking greenhouse, like, on Mars, and his own thing. He's just growing every drug imaginable. It's like Mars
Oh
can
shit.
cultivate every every drug there is, and they just Earth has become like a fucking junkie wasteland. Because Ed's just dropping shipments down there to everybody, and people are hooked.
That'd be so fucking funny.
Miles is Miles's wife and daughters are strung out, like living in Idaho,
He's
near his
he's Ed's
sister.
enforcer. Like he's
Yeah,
like the Luca Brasi of Ed,
he
like on Mars.
he fixes the irrigation system and the
Yeah.
lights and shit. Uh,
So great.
they were having too much fun with this.
Yeah. Let me ask you, because I think that was the end, really, for the most part of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
episode. Where, you know, we're on Mars. Sure, they want to go to like the other planets and the other planets' moons and all of that. What is the ultimate end goal of this show? Let's say they get another couple of seasons, right?
Hmm.
Are we talking interstellar travel? Are we talking about other star colonization? What how far can they go with this thing?
That's a great question. I think personally think they're gonna just focus on Mars and then colonization or like finding other life forms or something and war in space. The other direction I think they could go is I think what's the next planet after Mars? Like Saturn or Venus or because I think what I
It's like
read
Saturn's moon or something like that. Yeah.
there's like asteroid fields between there in
Yeah.
real life. So
Yeah.
um do they it could be as wild as fucking they decide that Ed's gonna catch a comet. Like, I mean, they
Right.
create a net system and a comet comes by and Ed's like, you know, surfing behind it and going it, and then he ends up in a tesseract, like
Right.
Interstellar or something.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the
or does it
development of
become
human
Star Wars or Star Space Force? Like
right.
it just becomes like military. It just at the world's end because the fighting. We have the new World War III. It could be like a galactic war. I don't know. What do you think? That's a good
It,
question.
I could see that. But I mean, there's so much in science fiction about attacking a planet from another, planet,
Yeah,
basically. How long until somebody drops like a fucking asteroid on Earth and like wipes
yeah,
out an entire country? Or
yeah,
you know, human development has to do with about utilizing the resources at your disposal.
yeah,
And right now they're just now talking about like mining the asteroids and things like that. And like
yeah,
the next step after that is then harnessing like the power of the sun. Because
yeah,
I'll have to send you something about that. But I just don't know how far they can take it. Do they finally like get to harness the power of the sun in like season 7, right? The final season. And then they somehow make a discovery into like fucking like wormholes. And it's like Ed is like 100,000 years old, and he's like going through like Stargate. Where do
it,
we go from here? I don't know.
yeah. Stargate. Ed finds like the fountain of youth. It's really like in asteroid belt, and he lives
Yeah,
forever. Or he goes to Gargantua. I mean,
yeah,
but I think the way the show is kind of grounded in reality. I think the next step is colonization of Mars, which they're on a track,
full
but
scale.
like
Yeah,
full scale colonization, sending vacationers up. I think once they find water and other sources on Mars, and there may be some kind of World War III catastrophe or asteroid or that is threatening Earth, and they're in the last couple seasons they're trying to get people off, um, and use moving as many people to Mars. I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking of like how Elon Musk, reading his book and was talking about with his space wanting to get people to Mars is the finite resources on Earth, and then it's not going to last forever, and humans adapting to you know adapting how nature adapts to change and stuff like that. So
right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It could be
further
somewhere
survival of
along
the
those
human
lines.
species, right? Earth, there's only so long that, just you can calculate humans can last on Earth. In order to keep
Yeah,
going, you got to go to another planet, right? I would think that's the ultimate
yeah.
like answer to the equation. But it'll I think you're right because they've done the tourism thing on Mars with like the Hilton or
Well, the
whoever opened
moon,
up.
no,
Yeah,
that wasn't
the moon,
Mars. That
yeah.
was yeah,
The moon. Yeah. And like now you've got like people going up there to work and do refinery work and all this kind of stuff. Like that's coming from Mars. And then, yeah, I don't know where it goes from there. That's so interesting.
yeah. All good questions to ponder, my friend.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Any other thoughts?
No, just bangers, man. We're watching all the bangers right now. So
I'm feeling an uptick in the TV shows we're watching.
yeah,
It's coming back. It's no Succession, but it's coming back.
no, but there's the one that's kind of failing right now is HBO because they're not watching anything on that.
Yeah, what am
Um,
I watching on HBO? Nothing. Curb Your
yeah,
Enthusiasm. It's old.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Sunday night was a night for the past 4 or 5 years. It's been watching. I mean, longer than that, but
Yep.
now I got nothing on Sunday night. It's
Yep.
Fargo nights, and I mean it's FX Hulu, and it's Apple TV
Oh
and
yeah,
Netflix.
and
So
Slow Horses starts
yeah,
on Wednesday. They
that's
moved it
right.
up. Yeah.
Ooh, can't wait.
Yep. So that'll be
And
good.
do a double feature that night with the
Oh yeah.
Gold, Jack Loudon, and Slow Horses.
Yeah. Slow Horses. For All Mankind. If they move that to Wednesday, it'll be a double feature night on Apple TV. Yeah. It'll be great.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's
Cool,
it for me.
cool.
Appreciate everybody for kicking it with us this week. Be sure to check out For All Mankind. There's a lot of cool shows out there. Chuck mentioned a few. The Gold on Amazon Prime. Netflix has got The Crown. Check out, a lot of the shows. We were talking to some people over Thanksgiving about sending us some ideas. So any new shows out there, send them over. Email it at canwekickitpod1@gmail. Send it to our Instagram at canwekickitpod. Check out our website, kickingitmedia.com, if anybody has any ideas about starting a podcast. We're always willing to help and get other people going. So tune in next week. We'll be talking more For All Mankind, and we'll be talking Slow Horses as well. So as Cousin likes to say,
Swift Kelsey 2024.